FrontLine Chat with Harry Tangye and Dave Wardell.
It's autumn watch, winter watch. Winter watch, you can see the senior badger of the lair sitting there with his, just surveying his human hand that's coming in. Hey, mate, how are you?
Very good, mate. Very good.
He's looking very handsome today. How is he? Bit of an update required, I think. He's
yeah.
gorgeous. He's the most gorgeous German Shepherd I've actually seen ever in my life.
I'm a little bit biased, but I'd have to agree. Nothing. Give him a bit of an ear scratch.
Or maybe it's because he's next to you. He just looks gorgeous because you're so ugly. I don't know.
There is that. That is a definite possibility. Oh, look.
Oh,
my lovely top.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah. Loving it. Right. So, Finn, update. His physios are still really happy with him. They did his hydro and they can feel his muscles starting to get a bit stronger, so that's good. He's little things like he's got to learn to go from the sit to the stand again. I say learn, it's just making sure the muscles remember how to do it, and then of course that helps him to build more muscle as well. So he's doing that. Then eventually he'll go from laying down to sitting, and then sitting to standing, and then so on to build up all that muscle memory and muscle. So I think the best way to describe how he's doing at the moment is, it's going to say, hopefully this works. His bad days are as good as his good days used to be when it first happened. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. So he's moved to that. Yeah.
So his good days are pretty good. Obviously the same thing that I've always said is that the more he thinks he can do, the more he wants to do, and that's when he can end up causing himself issues. But he's doing, touch wood, he's doing really well.
That gets us all in trouble, that, isn't it? Trying to do things we want to do. I mean, I wake up injured now. I don't know about you.
Yeah, well, I tend to crawl out of bed, crawl along the bedroom floor until all the blood starts pumping around my back and my knackered knees and my knackered.
I'll tell you what, we're sounding like those people, like, you know, when I used to take my mum out and they go, "Oh, hello, Moira," and you go, "Hello, Deirdre, how are you?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, my leg,
my
bunions,
my bunions."
And then there's actually no content in any conversation of any sort whatsoever. Mate, I think we've hit that point. It's a disaster. Anyway, what's been going on? I've got to say, I've got to share this first of all. The weather that I've been fortunate. This is where I've been staying, where I was born and brought up, as Lusterglaze, Porth. Absolutely, it's beautiful, isn't it? I mean,
it's torture. I don't know how you do it, Harry. I mean, it must be so difficult. You need a pay rise.
Well, do you know what? I mean, some of the most exciting weather I love in these storms that we've had. It is just phenomenal. And I had a mate come over from Canada, actually. We were school friends, and so it's been years and years and years. I saw him very briefly for a Costa Coffee for about 3 minutes about 8 years ago. But he's down again. But I mean, this surf is wow. You certainly feel alive when you come out of it, when you come away from it again.
Was that this surf off the back of one of the storms? Was it?
Yeah, that's right. I forget the name of it now because it's so many of them. Somebody would be screaming at us, won't they? We
used to have a neighbour who obviously realised Mum used to struggle as we were growing up, and she loved Newquay. So every now and then, every sort of couple of years, she would take us away and leave Mum to wallow or whatever she was doing, and we would go. We would stay on I think it used to be called Fistral Sands, which is just a housing estate that overlooks Fistral. And so we used to see that. We used to walk down there. We used to go down there late at night. It was just lovely. Just such a cracking place.
It is lovely, mate. I think I'll probably be going down there, as you know. I am. Yeah, thank you, Christmas jumper. I was told off last week, so I thought. So that's it. That's
right,
my
so
effort.
we should do Christmas jumpers next week. Are we here next week? Aren't we busy next week?
No, you and I might not be.
Yeah, we're busy, aren't we?
Depends if that thing's cancelled or not.
Oh, is it cancelled?
No.
Oh,
but you don't know what the government's doing. See, I'm going to Norway.
Yeah.
I'm going to Norway to stay on my brother's boat and stuff. He lives on a boat, on a sailing boat in Bergen Harbour, and yeah, so I'm going over there. My other brother from France is going over there as well, so it's going to be really cool. They do all their boats up really beautifully as well. I was trying to find a photograph of it, but I can't. Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. So that's where I'm going, but. You know, all this COVID tests and all that, I'm not even looking until probably next week now, just to see if they've changed all the rules again. Because you just think you've got it all sussed. You order all the right tests and then it all changes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they won't cancel it.
Yeah, I mean, shall we tell them what we're doing next week? Well, I think what we should do is probably try and join them for a mini live, perhaps.
Yeah, but you said that last time, and we didn't do it. We need a couple of photographs of each other as well, of together, because we don't have that.
We need to do that
before we get have a drink. I meant, yeah.
Definitely.
Go on. You're going to tell them what we're doing next week.
I can't remember. No, we're going to see Arthur, aren't we?
Arthur Smith.
We are going to see
Arthur Smith in Leeds. Is it Farley? Do they call it Farley?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he is the best. And we're going to do some more work with him. We've got another gig with him, haven't we? Listen to us. We've got another gig in April. So we've got this, first of all, everyone, sorry. We've got this FrontLine Chat. We did one of these in Chester with Arthur Smith, and it went really well, didn't it?
It did. Yeah. I mean, if any of you have never seen Arthur Smith on TV, you can catch him. His catch-ups on YouTube and stuff like that. But he's quite often on TV. In fact, I think he's on TV every day at like 3 p.m. He narrates one of the shows. But he's hilarious. He is
hilarious.
Funny.
He is hilarious. That one's at the Palace Theatre in March the 12th, and it's not with Arthur. We've got Fitz from Radio Devon. He's very funny. I sort of tend to be on his radio shows, working out about once every 3 months now with that. We just have a good old chat, big laugh. It's all right. It's good. Talk about various subjects and things like that. But that's going to be 12th of March and then April is the other ones.
Someone's asked if we got any Christmas related stories, and Harry's much better at remembering stories than I am. That's why I wrote a book, so at least I might be able to remember some when I get old. But I did help deliver a baby on Christmas night. We were driving. Yeah, we were just out. We were bored, and we were just out on patrol. And I can see this guy running in and out of a house, and I'm thinking, oh, that's a bit odd. And he was going into a car, and he looked really panicked. And I'm thinking, well, it didn't look like a burglar, but clearly something's up. And I drove up to stop him, and he was like, "What's up, baby?" And he ran off into the house. And I was a father, I think possibly once or twice over at that point. And I thought, oh yeah, you're just panicking. And no, she was delivering the baby on the living room floor. So I had to jump and do what I could until the ambulance were only a couple of minutes away. But until
did you ask for? I think I would have asked for a bucket of hot soapy water and 3 meter length of rope, please. Yeah.
The only reason they ask for those things is to give the panicking father something to do to get them away. But sure enough, I helped the Ambo crew deliver a baby on Christmas evening in this woman's front room. I can't remember what the child was called. They certainly didn't name it after me.
No, that's a shame. I was going to ask that. People always ask that, don't they? But I think they've probably made that. Well, a lot of people haven't made their names up yet by then. My side of things, Christmas, to be honest, Christmas stories were always pretty depressing, actually, because when you consider that you're in the fatal road traffic collision business, there's not a lot of cheerful stuff going on around that time, and quite the opposite, as you can imagine. So to be honest, I'll be honest with you, there wasn't an awful lot to be joyful about, because it would be like, oh my God, these people are just going to remember Christmas for this,
yeah,
and
exactly.
whatever.
What a miserable time for those people for the rest of their lives. But yeah, I mean, Christmas Day, Boxing Day tends to be really busy. If you think about it, most of these people haven't seen each other all year. They come together, they have a few drinks, and then they're reminded why they haven't seen each other all year, because they flipping hate each other.
Yes, they hate each other, and it's completely right, because it's usually domestics occur about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Christmas Day. And then you look at the poor kids, and they're booing their eyes out, and there's a drunk dad, usually is what the case is. And it's a complete nightmare situation. Yeah, you do feel sorry for those things. But yeah, thank you. Thanks for my there was a question about the thin blue poor t-shirts have you got coming up or something? Are they
no,
or not?
It's these fabulous thin ones, I think she meant. She's her grey one has arrived. She was just asking if there was a coloured one. But yeah, where's my? I'm kind of showing. I'm very proud of Finn's new brand. We rebranded everything because he is my superhero, and I thought this matched him much more. So yeah, I'm just showing that off. That we'll promise to have cheesy Christmas jumpers next week if we join you. It might only just be for 5 minutes, because it'll probably be in the high street somewhere in, where are we going? Manchester?
No, we're not. We're going to Leeds, mate.
It's probably
you don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna meet you in Birmingham. We'll sort that. Birmingham railway station, and I'll take you from there, just so we get to the right place.
There we go. See, everybody needs a friend like Harry.
So I'm coming up. Talking of heroes, as you were with Finn, there we had a certain. We got the winners here, haven't we? The winners, Please Bravery Awards. And there's a lot of sort of local news on it, and there's a lot of newspaper things, online newspaper things, but there's very little, if no, national media as usual on the. TV.
For me, and I saw lots of comments agreeing with me. These awards should be televised. They should.
Yes, they should.
ITV, BBC, whatever, Channel 4, Channel 5. I don't care. They should be televised. The stories that come out year after year after year after year would make anybody proud, and would make most of us cry. I'll let Harry he's written it on his post there, tell you what these guys did to be the overall winner. I mean, what these guys, I mean, I'm sure none of them will say that they're heroes, because they didn't turn up to work to be a hero that day. They turned up to do their work, their job, as they always do every day. And it just happened that they were faced with an incredibly distressing and dangerous situation, but they stepped up and they dealt with it. And this is what your cops are doing day in, day out. Harry will have heard of stories, and I've certainly heard of stories where you think, blimey, that's the bravest thing I've heard of, and they should go for an award. And the officer doesn't want to know about it. They don't want to be put forward for an award. They just want to kind of move on. But yeah, I mean,
this guy here is Devon Cornwall. So I have to put Devon Cornwall's bit in on this one. And basically, yes, this was Penzance. Christopher James dived in to save, because what is often the case on the coastline down here is somebody's in trouble with water, so somebody else jumps in and tries to save them, and they get into trouble. And it's usually with dogs and things like that. Dogs, 9 times out of 10, the dogs will scuttle out onto the beach again, and the person trying to save them, their owner, will have drowned. And it's so common that way. It's really is best to let the dog figure it out. They probably will. Unfortunately, there was a fatality with this one. And but the other one survived, and undoubtedly survived, because this chap dived in and managed to grab hold of them enough for another officer to then throw a life aid to them and drag them in. So that was a good result. But lots of things like that happening all over the country. This one, I wondered if it was a spoof initially, and then I had a little bit of a dig, and it's actually a dig in deeper, and it's actually quite a serious incident that took place. So let's bring this one up here. Right. Gwent police officers given award after water buffalo attack.
Yeah.
And you think, okay, what's this about? I thought that looked like Tom Gaymore. That's why I thought it was a bit of a spoof initially. So Mark Burbage and Owen Smallwood, and basically tells the story there, but it's the water buffalo. I think it was a picture. No, it's not a picture. It was a picture. You know what a water buffalo looks like. Anyway, unfortunately, there were 2 fatalities, a father and son. I think it was their pet water buffalo. And it was just gouging, and then the daughter came. I don't know if it's the same family, but it was a young woman and her mother were then attacked because the daughter's trying to get them off the men, and then she was just tossed in the air, and then the police officers turned up, and they are literally getting involved as well, putting themselves on the line in order to distract that water buffalo so that paramedics could then assist. 2 people dead again, unfortunately.
These animals can be quite dangerous. I know we didn't talk about it when it appeared in the press, because it was one of those things that we thought, we're probably going to get some hate. But there's been a few incidents recently that have been captured on camera and shared on social media of these sorts of animals, bulls and stuff, sort of running amok in towns. And then, sadly, I think one was shot and one was run over. Yeah. But these animals are very, very, very dangerous. In that sort of situation, they can be incredibly dangerous. We had a job here, or locally, fairly recently, where, and I'm not going to tell you how many bullets they used, but they used a lot of bullets, because this bull had killed killed the farmer, and the son was trying to rescue his dad, and he was trying to attack him, wouldn't let him near his dad, and the firearms officers were left with this animal's in the middle of a field, so it can see all around it. No one can get anywhere near it because it will charge at them. So what are they going to do? Subsequently, we know he's dead, but the body of the man was underneath him, and he just wouldn't walk away and relinquish the body. So what are they going to do? There's a chance maybe he's still alive, so they've got to do everything they can to try and get to him to save him. And of course, that means potentially the bull had to be dispatched, but it wasn't one bullet, it wasn't one magazine, it wasn't one gun.
I can tell you why, because there's some technical reasons why police officers say, well, they shot him 8 bullets and it wasn't enough. The difference between, just for everyone out there, a bull or a cow or bullock, that size of animal has got very thick bones, thick skulls and things like this. And so basically the only clear way of having a quick shooting, quick ending, is basically with rifle officers. And they're on duty everywhere in the forces, but sometimes they're not in a convenient place. And so the rounds that are used in police firearms they're actually against the Geneva Convention. You wouldn't be allowed to use them in war and not commit war crimes, really, because they fragment and they hit and they fragment. And that's to stop them going through the bad guy who's just about to shoot someone else or kill someone else and go through them and then ricochet off and hurt somebody else. Whereas in war, they quite like that, because it takes another person off the field, so that they are both injured then, because the round's just gone through and hit one, and then you need all these people to carry them off and then fix them. So they prefer soldiers are injured than killed, because it takes an awful lot of people off the battlefield. The police is completely different from that. So then these rounds that are not meant to go through bone about that thick, especially like a ski slope through the head, and so they will just ricochet off like little snap hits, really. I have been present various occasions, because in a rural area, fatal. More people are killed by cows in the world than sharks, for one. And I think there was 8 people killed by cows in Great Britain, certainly a couple of years ago. I don't know if it's the same. I was on Dartmoor recently. Not usually. First of all, 9 times out of 10, cows are absolutely fine. It's when the bull has got its little harem there. And my brother and I were very experienced with this sort of thing. We were walking through Dartmoor doing Duke of Edinburgh stuff. And this cow, we just acted very strangely, this bullock, and then started almost to cut us off. So the harem were this side where we were trying to walk between, and he was going, wah, wah, and he was coming towards us and then veering off towards the harem. And we did actually said to Garen, I think we're going to have to run for it, mate. So we did. But I have seen farmers gorged by them, and the farmer got really into the corner, the nape of a fence to get in here, so that's it, so that he couldn't get at him so much. It is quite a vicious situation. Huge, powerful animals. Yeah, I had a rifle officer on my roof once, and along the A30, and as we drove out along the A30 slowly, there was one rifle officer outside the window. It's all cordoned off, and as the bull, huge great thing, charged our car, all the rifle officers did was 3, 2, 1, and it was instant. And one went for the heart, one went for the head, and it was killed instantly. absolutely, so professionally done. But that's how it
and
should be done. But
there was one not long ago where they managed to corner it on an industrial estate, and then they shot it, and everyone was up in arms. But I think what people don't tend to look at all the facts. They tend to grab the headline and run with that. And actually, the farmer was there. The farmer was there. The farmer had tried to do everything he possibly could.
Always give the farmer the choice first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, it was the farmer's decision. He said, "I can't help you anymore."
We had that with an emu in Devon and Cornwall. We had that with an emu. There was an emu escaped. These are big birds, powerful birds, and with their legs and things like that they punch out with. And the farmer said, "Look, if it's out, it's dangerous. I won't be able to catch it. It has to be dispatched, unfortunately." So that's enough of that. But I'm sure these people would be, if they had a bull chasing them, they'd be saying, "Shoot it, shoot it!"
Yeah.
Because you haven't got long to live if it's after you like that.
But
Anyway,
that was just one job. I mean, we've got officers that have arrested violent offenders and who are still armed with knives, and they're not firearms officers. They're just normal officers with a can of spray and a metal stick. What else have we got? That was PC Markham from the Met. We've got obviously the overall winners, who PC Daniel, Broderick, Elizabeth Brooke, Anthony Dutton, and Richard Knowles, which as Harry said, from West Yorkshire Police, arrested an incredibly violent offender who'd already killed 2 people, was it?
Yeah.
I mean,
already. I mean, it was a vicious attack with over 100. Oh no, that was mixing those up. With one was with a machete, wasn't it? And the other was 100 stab wounds with this person.
Northants, David Caton, Sergeant Caton from Northants, who was shot in the face protecting an elderly couple from a man experiencing mental health issues. PC Evans from West Midlands.
Before you go on to that one, Dave, he then bluffed him because he'd ran out of taser cartridges, and he bluffed him, and the guy gave up because he didn't want that other to be tasered again. But he was just pretending it had another cartridge in. So, and it's all on video, that one, the latter part of it. Incredible, yeah.
Matthew Evans from West Midlands, off duty, fearlessly tackled and detained a violent offender who'd stabbed another man in the heart. I mean, these jobs.
These people are turning up. Not much more dressed as I am now. You got pepper spray, and you just think, and tasing, you think, oh, that's going to be fine. But with taser, you have to get both barbs in the person at a reasonable spread, because if it's like that, it's just like, ow, that really hurts. I'm still going to attack you. And and Dave will realise this, and just saying for other people, is that, and if you get one barb there and the other one misses, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen to that person. And if their clothing's really, really thick, or various other reasons, it's not a guarantee. You've got somebody running, you think, if I miss this, I could well die. I could have a knife put through my chest right now. That takes a lot of concentration.
So someone said when we were talking about the bull, preservation of life takes precedence, and it does. I go to a lot of high level jobs, and lots of other officers do, and normally if firearms are not far away, we'll wait for them to arrive. But if the threat to life is so high, it's your duty to intervene. You must. I went to a job where firearms were 10 minutes away, and she was screaming down the phone that she was being stabbed. And so I said to the Oscar, I've got to go in. I've got to kick the door. And I was on my own. Luckily, when I kicked the door in, she was having a bit of a mental health episode, and so was he, and they were both drunk. But I've had colleagues who have kicked the door in to find the bloke running down the corridor at them with two knives, and he was a firearms officer, and he had to shoot him. So you just never know what's the other side of that door, do you? Never know.
Maria, thank you very subtly telling me I'm an idiot. I'm joking, but a bullock is a baby male cow, basically. Yeah, male cow. So yeah, wouldn't have a harem. It would be in a field of bullocks, or a bull with his harem. That's right. Bullocks are often friskier and more unpredictable than.
Honestly, you and Maria are just talking a load of bullocks.
Hey, I tell you what. I was going to say something. No.
Don't do it.
No. Oh, it's gone. It'll have to come back. It'll come back. Something before anybody misses this one. I think we need to. So North Yorkshire, nice to see a bit of positive Twitter stuff. They're going to go for it. North Yorkshire Police to document calls via social media. Basically, what they're going to do is they're doing a tweetathon next Friday. So Friday the 17th December between 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. North Yorkshire are going to tweet every job they get in. So
every job.
Every job.
What and what night is it? Sorry, when is it?
Every job is said.
Can't be every job, surely.
I know, that's what I did think. And especially there'll be some jobs they won't be able to tweet anyway because it will be like too specific and identifiable.
I hope they do a broad spectrum because you'll see, sometimes you get the sublime and the ridiculous, and other times you get the downright dangerous and scary, and hopefully you'll see some of those jobs and think, really, you guys have to deal with that. And
you'll find it's mostly be mental health and drunk people.
You'll realize that quite often we are the last stop, aren't we, for everything, particularly in an evening when other government departments are not available. We are there, and we don't have the full training that they have, but we have to pick up the pieces. So it's a Friday night, next Friday night, Mad Friday. Oh my god!
Yeah, they call it Mad Friday now, don't they?
Certainly do.
Yeah. Good drink drive. I think it was that. It was that time when I took many years ago. I took basically a model, and she was doing a thesis. She was from Canada. She was beautiful. And I took her along with me and caught a drink driver with her. And it was about 15 minutes. And then I said, I'll do the paperwork to that lady. We came out again and we went traveling and we caught, that was that Morris Minor I had a pursuit with. It wasn't when Morris Minors were common either. She went, what's a Morris Minor? I said, it's a bit like that car there. Oh, that's the one we're after. Spun the car around. I thought, if I lose this pursuit with this Morris Minor, I might
never live it down.
Ran off into the distance like a hero in front of my model in the car. Came back with my quarry, and I was like, "Thank you, God." Thank you. She was like, "It's always like this." I said, "Well, it's quite busy, but is that right, Maria? We're talking bulls still here, Dave. I thought a bullock was a baby bull. It's not. It's a neutered bull, is it?
One that's had its thingies taken.
Oh my God! Thank you. Didn't know that. I've learned something new today. That's probably why they're chasing after me. So good on North Yorkshire for that. Really impressed with them for that. Tell us something. Yeah, because you did this, mate. What was this about?
Okay. So that chap, Dr. Daniel Allen, Dr. Daniel Allen. Anybody who's following the pet theft,
this is good.
Campaign, he's helping Bruce Forsyth's daughter, whose name escapes me. I can't remember her name. That's ridiculous because I've met her loads of times. They're trying to bring a new law in for to make pet theft a proper offence, not just someone's stolen your plant pot off the doorstep. Theft offence, a proper offence, because
like as a member of the family, basically.
Harry and I love our dogs to pieces, and they are a member of the family, and it's not the same as having your plant pot nicked. It is like having a family member taken. And of course, during the lockdowns, pet theft rocketed. And
is it Julie, Debbie, Louisa, Charlotte, Laura?
It's gonna
2, 3, 4, 5 daughters.
She picked up an award the other day. I'm going to kick myself after this because it will come back. It's just the stress of being live with Harry.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've met Dr. Daniel Allen a number of times. He was a great supporter of Finn's Law. He came to the party. You must have met him, Harry. He came to the party when
I did.
When we achieved Finn's Law. And he's always been a huge supporter, and he loved the way we conducted the campaign. We weren't having a go at anyone. Obviously, as a cop, I would have found it very difficult to have a go at the government and keep my job. And so I had to run the campaign very differently. And obviously Kay Nightingale, my good friend, helped me with the strategy behind that. And so he's a lecturer, Dr. Daniel, and he's built a project or a module this year on campaigning, because it's a passion of his. Don't not while you're eating those.
Well done, Ian.
And he asked us if we would come and speak to his students. The other week he had Mark Abraham, who did the new law, Lucy's Law, it's nicknamed, for puppy farms, banning puppy farms, and he had us on. And he just wanted us to go through how we conducted ourselves, the strategy that we had. Obviously, our strategy, or one of our many strategies, was to contact every MP and make sure they knew who Finn was, and when we came to Parliament, making sure they had the opportunity to meet him, because if there's that personal touch, then they're more likely
totally right.
Stand up in Parliament and say, yeah, let's do this. And of course it worked. And obviously we talked about how social media was brilliant and how we engaged the public to make them feel that they were part of the journey, which of course they were. We couldn't have achieved it without them. So so we've done a couple of talks with universities now, and it's something that I like to do. I want to pass on whatever knowledge I might have and share the mistakes that I also made as well, to try and inspire the next generation.
Yeah, mate. I mean, you did, because that was the whole point, where it was making those personal, including. You went through loads of MPs, and like you say, you get that connection, and then it's a bit like phoning someone up instead of giving them an email. They feel obliged that now I have to.
I know. Everybody's got their own take on Michael Gove, but he was brilliant, and more than that, his department were incredible. His department at the time was one of the smaller departments in government, DEFRA, but it's massive. There's hundreds of people there, and they're experts from around the world. The chief vet, we met the chief vet for the country, who was incredibly supportive, and you need that. When you're walking around the offices of DEFRA, these are the people that are going to be drawing up your law and telling government whether they should support it or shouldn't support it. So going in there with Finn and playing ball with these people on the floor who have really busy, stressful days, and I'd imagine it just gave them a little bit of light relief, and I hope that stuck with them. Because they were fantastic, certainly after that. So we met a few people, but the only person we didn't meet was Boris.
Really? Was he at a party or something? Or?
Sorry. It was during, I will just say this, it was during Brexit, and it was one of the votes, and we were asked if we could go to the chief whip's office. Both the whip's offices are next to each other, so Labour and Conservative whip's offices are next to each other. And when they say the whips, that's what they are. They're there to whip up their MPs and get them to do as the party wants them to do, which they don't always do.
To basically motivate a whole load of bored MPs, sort of thing, and say, "Come on, we need points on this one."
We had, but it was when Brexit was going on, and obviously that was another thing I'm not even going to talk about. But we had both the chief whips in there with us. The Labour whip had come in to the Tory whip's office, and we had all these MPs come in, and they're having cuddles with Finn. And then we had both the chief whips ask if they could use Finn's skills to bring their MPs into line. It just made me die. It was hilarious. But walking through the corridors with Finn, and John Burko was there, and
really?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
So basically, it was good to actually teach people to say, look, your system worked. You were really good at what you did, how to motivate. And I'm doing a little bit at the moment where I'm my work I'm doing at the moment is with Can Communications, working alongside someone. And we're just basically drumming up support and getting it into the press, papers, radio, TV in those local areas. And currently working on something for Leeds Arts. It's usually arts. We love police-related stuff as well. But it is getting that angle to get people's attention and to get this thing in the papers, especially these when they're really good. It's not just for private funds, it's for arts and making the place look better, getting communities involved and stuff like that. So maybe I should be a whip, although that's something completely could be misunderstood. That
and
they played your what was it? What was it like seeing your Britain's Got Talent thing again?
I haven't seen it in a long time. It's quite an emotional thing for me. You know, the first time round, if you watch it, I mean, things that blow me away is it's had 25 million views on YouTube, which is just bonkers. And if you watch the video itself, you'll see that when it's being played on the screen, although they do edit it, it's a slightly different thing you see to what we saw. I couldn't watch it because I knew I had to carry on with the act, so I couldn't watch it. So I'm fussing Finn, and then obviously Simon breaks down in tears. So does Amanda and Ant and Dec, and I couldn't watch it at the time because I had to then stand up, and I didn't really want to stand up with a wobbly voice with tears running. Well, maybe I should have done, and the audience tears. But yeah, watching it again, I haven't watched it in probably a couple of years. It was very emotional. I had tears in my eyes yesterday when we were talking to the uni students after watching that video. So yeah,
I mean, I always thought, and I haven't actually asked you. I'm gonna have to do it over a pint sometime to find out exactly how you did the trick and things. But are you able to say, because something didn't go quite right, and I didn't know this. So I don't know if anyone saw it. Now, just imagine everyone who's on here. So you're on a stage. It's live. You're in front of all these very extremely famous people. It's got a massive audience. And something that you're doing that you've practiced and you've rehearsed in your mind, in your hotel room, and you're there. It's just you're on your own. And I just wondered, you cope so well. I just wonder if that Coppers thing, because it's basically no one's going to sort it. You've got to sort it. So grip it.
It was the first live audition. So the pictures of the audition Harry just showed you was a pre-recorded audition. So if things went slightly wrong, or if Finn barked at the wrong moment, it didn't matter. You just keep going through your act, and they can play with it and edit it. There wasn't much editing. Like I said, they changed what you saw on the movie clip that they made to what we saw, and just because I think they thought some of the pictures were a bit too graphic, and so they can play with it. So but the first live, I mean, it's bad enough going on there when you know it's a pre-record. They give you 10 minutes, they shorten it down to whatever it was, 5 minutes or something like that in the show. But live, you practice, and you do full run-throughs of the whole show. And then at the end of that full run-through, they'll come to you and say, sorry, you've got to lose 30 seconds because we need 30 seconds for whatever. And then you have to practice, and then they'll come to you and say, right, we just need 5 seconds less. And then oh gosh, and then they have a bit of a contingency because you're going to run over anyway, probably, unless it goes horrifically wrong. So it's only the second time I've ever been on stage. It's in front of 10 million people on telly. There's an audience of several thousand, and 4 of the most famous people are there judging you as well, which is just bonkers. And you've got everything in your head, and it's all got to run smoothly. And then Finn's being a bit of a pickle because he's barking, because he's thinking, well, you're under pressure, so I want some treats, Dad. Give me some treats. And so we got the first trick came up, which is boring.
Look.
There's plenty of other things.
Catherine, you don't need to be here.
No, you don't.
Go away. You know, I bore myself, Catherine. Seriously, believe me, I'm just amazed other people like it. But Dave, crack on. I want to hear.
Yeah, I was going to say, Catherine, if you've got good stories, then feel free to do it.
Come on, Catherine.
Feel free to do it live. And so the first trick of the live performance, I had to ask each of the judges to do something. I'll explain another day. And it all went a little bit wrong because they don't know what's going on, but they thought they were being helpful in what they did, and actually they didn't. They weren't helpful at all, and they messed the trick up, and I had to rescue the trick. And the guy, I had a magic consultant I was working with, because funnily enough, I'm not a magician, I'm not a performer. As Catherine will tell you, I'm not a performer. And
Catherine's she's our new mascot, I think. Yeah, go on.
So the magic consultant at the end of the show, he said, well, he knew it had gone wrong. And he said, I've worked in this industry for 40 years. I've worked with people that have done it for decades. And I know that some of them at that point would have fallen apart and it gone to complete pot. And he said, you were as calm as I could imagine, and you just got on with it and you rescued it, and it worked in the end. It had to work because it linked the end of the show together. And he said, how did you do it? And I said, I can only assume it's what Harry just said. You know, when you're a cop and you turn up to a job and you're there and you're on your own and it's all going down the drain, you've got to rescue it, because no one else is going to come and rescue you. No one's going to, you know, no one's going to pull the answers out of the bag for you, and you just need to crack on. So that's the only reason I think we managed to pull through, because I did want the world to swallow me whole, but I couldn't. There's 10 million people watching me live.
Mate, I don't know how you did it. I don't know. Because you know, it's, I mean, that is pressure, and then you can't hide. If it all goes wrong, you cannot hide.
No, there's nowhere to go. The cameras are on you. I mean, you could run off stage, I guess. You could run off stage.
Screaming.
Yeah, screaming and crying, but you know, that's not going to get the message across, and that's what we wanted.
It would get the hits, though. It would get the clicks, wouldn't it? That's for sure.
Yeah.
Never thought of taking up magic then, mate, or too stressful?
Yeah.
But I think what you were saying, it was so professional. The whole thing is so professionally done. I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, I'm not a big follower of those sorts of shows. And when they first started, whatever it was, 10 years ago, 14 years ago, whatever it was, we used to watch the first few, because I guess it's a bit naughty nowadays, but it was a bit like bullying, wasn't it? You'd watch the people come on and crumble and pretend and have a horrific voice. But some of those people went off to have great careers off the back of their crazy.
I know. I just think maybe I am very pragmatic. I think I've been told I'm pragmatic. I'm probably quite heartless as well, because I do have that sort of feeling where at some point you've got to think, right, you're an adult and you make your own decisions. You can't blame everyone else for everything. And you could strip society of all joy because these things happen. And I know that it's more and more, it's saying that these big organizations have a responsibility for the people that they are, you know, I suppose, if they're getting mentally ill people, but then, as we all know, we're all mentally ill from some scale to another. There's no you are or you're not. It's such a tricky one, and I just think, as you know, otherwise life's going to get so tame. We're going to be too scared to do anything. It's the same thing as when I remember when people were raising money for baby incubators. That was the thing. When I was a school kid, we're raising money for a baby incubator. And then the school would buy a flower pot, and somebody would say, well, you could have bought a baby incubator for that. so basically, the world does without flower pots. That's what I think. How's Arthur? Arthur's fine. I haven't seen him for a week. I've been down in Newquay. So, I got a good welcome for him yesterday, but he's gone out with Becky. I'm in Torquay at the moment. So, he's adorable, and he's had his teeth done, and his breath doesn't smell anymore, which is good. So which helps, mate. So how are these going? These are going off, I see.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so that's Muddy Wet Spaniel. There's lots more to come from Muddy Wet Spaniel. So all the cards have gone out now. They've all been delivered, and look, such a lovely character created by Ian Welsh. If you don't follow Ian Welsh on Twitter, I think he's only on Twitter. His drawings are beautiful. The little stories that he does are just amazing. So have a look at Ian on Twitter. You can't miss him because he does characters like you just saw there. So Muddy Wet Spaniel. More to come from Muddy Wet Spaniel next year. Lots to come from Finn and I next year, which we can't talk about yet, which is a bit boring. Sorry, Catherine. As soon as I can tell you, I will.
There's one thing I wanted to get first of all. Was it this one? No. I see loads of people are doing mock-ups. Do you remember the Senate, the American Senate, who had Christmas tree with his family with a massive gun in each hand? Just trying to get the photo. Now the people are doing their own mock-ups of it. So I think we'll have to get some of those for next time. Let me just have a quick, bear with me, because you've got a family photograph that I do have. Oh, this is the one, right? Watch this. So this is comments. And sorry, I know there's someone from America on here, but you think, only in America. Happy Christmas, everybody. Yeah. And I think this was particularly insensitive because there'd been another shooting, a couple of people shot in schools and things like this. So, but you could, I think
different for them out there. You know, there was, I know, I mean, they're probably not watching now, but one of my American friends was watching just now, and you know, he does have that many guns. He seriously does.
I mean, I find these things quite boring, I must admit. You just point and squirt, and they just fire, and they go, and they get bored off them very quickly. But the Glocks, I find, which they would consider pea shooters, but they take a little bit of skill. You could tell his wife doesn't really want to be here. She's not. She doesn't think it's a good idea. His daughter definitely wants more of them. Yeah, but it was just brilliant. I see when I was just googling it, I was just seeing there was a few mock-ups, I think, of it. So I'll see if I can get hold of those. But yeah, it's just strange, isn't it? But it's a completely different culture. I think, you know, they say, oh, you should ban the guns. I think the horse has bolted now with America. There's so many on the ground.
Yeah, there's hundreds of millions. You're not going to get them all in. They're not going to give them
what's
up
the point
either.
now? Yeah. The only thing you can try to do is restrict them from people who are clearly mentally ill, and have some sort of, you know, to cut down.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah.
Good luck with that one.
Oh, so your version of that one there, mate, really was this one here, I see.
If there's a bunch of people that shouldn't have guns, it's that bunch of people there.
Yeah. Again, I'm not entirely sure your oldest daughter's completely going along with this one.
That's quite brave for her, and she'll be devastated to know that you're showing that on social media at the moment. She'll be devastated.
And I'm not entirely sure that he's utterly happy to be there either.
No, he's not. He's thinking.
No, he's bored with it.
Get me out of
here.
Took
a photo. Did you have to press the 10-second delay and then press the photo?
Yeah. Now you've got to have a laugh at Christmas, haven't you? You've got to. Usually it's impressive, mate. Which is what us British do really well. We have a laugh at our own expense.
Oh, and just so people know, a bit of self-advertising here. I've got at the moment, that is on audio. Yes, I did it. Finally did it. It's a lot of software involved. Take out the clicks and the imperfections. But if you haven't had 1 hour is not enough for you, you can have 7.25 hours of same audio is from Firearms and Fatals, and also there's an audio on this one now. So that is that one. And just think, Cornish Scoop is basically me in my first couple of years, basically. But I've named him someone else so I don't get into trouble for
7.5 hours of Harry.
7.5. I mean, even I couldn't listen to myself, my dulcet tones for that, mate. But on my Twitter account, I have actually put, if you retweet, the 5 will be getting the codes for free ones anyway. So see if I can even give them away. That would be good, wouldn't it? The other one, then 15... The other one's done 1,500 audiobooks, Firearms and Fatals.
Blimey.
And about 8,500 paperbacks.
Well, there you go. Very good.
Yeah.
Harry and I's book do make great Christmas presents.
They do. You never have yours available. I used to get yours out and stick it on the thing. Look, feel a cheerful Christmas story. A cheerful Christmas story. Firearms and Fatals help you get to sleep at night. The first chapter, I was just talking to Jason Holmes, actually, my mate from school, and he said he remembers most of this. The first chapter is called Breaching the Terrorism Act. So basically, as a 12-year-old, I would have breached the Terrorism Act if it had been in place at that time. Basically making bombs.
And mine's a great Christmas gift. It'll make you cry within the first 5 pages.
Is that because of the grammar or?
Yes.
No, it is a great Christmas book. So that's cool as well. I think that is that I don't think anyone can beat your Christmas thing. Right. So this week I know I've got COVID jab Tuesday, mate. Badung in Torquay. I've got my flu jab in Newquay. The next day,
wow,
I'm meeting you hopefully on Saturday. I'll meet you. We'll arrange Birmingham railway station.
There you go.
Pick you up.
Anybody wants to see Harry and I, be at Birmingham railway station next Saturday. I'm going to tell you what time.
Roughly the middle of the day. Harry's
going to arrange my life for me. I've been.
And then I'm going to take
much
you
DIY
to where do
useful.
you think you thought we were going to Manchester? No, we're not. Yeah. We're going to Leeds. That's where we're going to go. So I'll make sure Dave's gone to the right place. We're going to see Arthur Smith. That's if it's not all cancelled because of COVID, but I'm sure it'll be all right. But I'm sort of a believer. You just got to carry on with life, but just take because this is going to go on for a while. But just take the precautions necessary. I think you just got to follow the rules and regulations. I see there was a protest in London, and yet it was a very small turnout. I think concerns that it could escalate, but it's getting that happy medium, really, isn't it? Freedoms and safety, and not having a clue how it's going to develop. That's the problem, isn't it?
That's it. Well, I'm growing my beard for Santa. Obviously, I've got a very busy period coming up, earning some extra money as Santa.
Are you? So you, because your day job now, you're instructing police dog handlers, aren't you?
Yeah. New police dog handlers. Obviously I still got Hero and Pearl, so I still work them as well. But yeah, my full-time job is standing in wet, muddy fields.
You've got to be a certain type
time of year.
Particularly you have good insulation.
Last week was so stormy. Was it last week? Week before? It was so stormy.
Yeah, last week.
Oh gosh. Yeah,
Mate,
it makes you feel like you're alive. Yeah. Getting home and taking 2 hours to thaw out is great fun. And in the summer, I'll be moaning that it's too hot and too sunny. So you can't win, can you?
Yeah, I don't. Do you get that motivation when you get another little puppy come in? I suppose they're all just so different, aren't they? Do you start or do you think, I've got to start all over again now?
No, yeah. All dogs teach you something new. They're all very, very different. We try and keep the training consistent with lots of repetitions in the hope that they get it. Sometimes they get it really quickly. Other times they get it much more slowly, but you can still see a progression, so you keep going. But sometimes some dogs, they turn up to training and I've seen it before in a young dog, they decide they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it any longer. They want to go and sit in front of the fire. You have to respect that and rehome the dog and let them go and do something else. But
one from Hans just passed out all there. You see, you can tell these people have an outside life, not like ARVs.
Where's that? North Hants, did you say?
Yeah, no, Hants.
Hants,
Thames Valley Police.
Yeah.
Newest dog teams that pass. So that must be, is that like leaving, if you're like a little primary school teacher and you see your kids walk out the door, it must be like,
sort of.
But then they're always back, aren't they? They're always having retraining.
They do, yeah. They have to come back every few weeks to just have a recap and push them on a little bit more, because when they finish their initial course, that's not it. They train every day, every day until they retire. I remember the judge, the defense lawyer QC for the lad that stabbed Finn, kept going on and on and on and on and on about his training records, and in the end the judge got fed up with her and said, look, how often do you train your dog? And I said, every time he comes out the van. And she said, right, that's the end of that question, move on.
Nice one. No, I love it when the judges do that and they nip them in the bud like that. I just love it. It's like gives them a little slap legs. And of course our horses fans, we don't have horses now. Wales is the one nearest to Devon and Cornwall. But it must be quite warm on those, I would imagine. All that heat coming up.
Gloucestershire have horses, don't they?
Oh yeah, Gloucestershire. That's quite miles away. No,
sorry, Avon and Somerset. Avon and Somerset, they have horses. That's nearly Wales.
Yeah, but it's still quite a way. It's quite away from us because we're with Dorset in name only. Really, we never see them because it's too far away. It takes an hour to get there from where we are. And God knows if Dorset had to then go to West Camborne, it's like 3-hour journey. Yeah. and yet we are sort of joined with them. Saves a few money on some admins, I think, and all that. But it's good. So it's definitely a lifestyle choice with dogs, isn't it? Because you don't get if I wanted some good insoles for my boots, I would definitely go to you, Dave, to say, because you would have tried them all out, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I tried heated socks out the other week. My feet get so cold. They're so far away from my head that they get so cold. So I tried heated socks. They got a little battery pack and everything, and they were okay. They just took the edge off, which was just enough for me.
What about
suppose.
And what are those like hand warmers and feet warmers? Because I've tried various things for motorbikes. I used to ride my motorbike at 5:30 in the morning on a winter's day.
Yeah.
Which was just could be miserable. I'd be opening the door and work like that, trying to just absolutely no blood in my hands at all.
Yeah. No, you can't beat layers, I'm afraid. But I tried the heated socks and they were okay. So I'm going to go with heated socks when it's really, really cold only, though.
Okay. Something going on in London. I'm just having a quick scan, actually. A major incident in Kensington reports. Okay. Looks like there's a male incident, male scene. So a shooting of sorts. Like that. Okay. So we'll see how that develops. In Kensington. That is a shame to hear, because you as a cop, when you're in December and you go to a fatal, as I was saying before, and or you go to like a murder, or you go to even a horrendous accident where someone's lost, their spine or something, and you just think, especially Christmas, and you think someone dies on Christmas Eve, and there's so many people out there that are just find Christmas miserable because it highlights those times, because life and death go on. It doesn't stop for Christmas, does it, Dave? And
no.
Must have
busy time of year. Busy time of year. All the trucks are full up of stuff, and the drivers still need to have their 4-hour breaks or whatever, breaks every 4 hours, and so they become a target and ram raids because the shops are full up. It can be a very busy time of year. It really can.
Exactly. Okay, so and Chris Hobbs. I mean, if you don't follow Chris Hobbs, everyone, you must follow Chris Hobbs. He's very good. He usually just follows Hey?
He'll tell it as it is, won't he? He won't go down up the crowd. He'll show it as it is. He's
ex-police officer. He's pretty. He's ex-police officer, but So this is I think the anti-lockdown, the anti-vax, and all this sort of thing business going on. So arguably the most genteel protest I've attended in many years. PC rain not needed, but he's just turned up. Hope he's around next Saturday. I think the concern is next Saturday. Because the police, they tend to get a bit busier, and they have to deal with idiots who like to shout in their face. It was interesting. This guy I had from before we finished in 3 minutes, Jason from Canada. He's worked in aerospace, and he said to me, I was having a meal with him earlier this week, and he said, Harry, we can't believe it. In Canada, we look at your cops, and they're on the way, we see all the way they just shout in their faces like that, and the cops just put up with it. I said, well, they have to, because they get complained against, and they've got no backing from the IOPC. They've got no backing from anyone, and everyone runs scared of the media for the clickbait and stuff like that. And then there's always your armchair expert. And he goes, well, in Canada, he says the cops would have them on the ground cuffed for even just shouting at them like that. And I said, not only the public would back them up, but the system would as well. We wouldn't even hear of it. We want our law and order to have authority.
And potentially we've got challenging times ahead if they do decide on another lockdown, which, we have to respect the decision because they're thinking about the wider population. If they do decide on one, who's going to police it? No one's going to want us to, but there isn't anyone else to do it. And what will that look like?
And you've got to think about individual officers then. So if I'll put myself in that position, I'm there, and I would be supervising my officers, and I would be saying, I say, look, we'll do what the public want us to do. We are part of the public, and if they're all shouting and saying we don't want you to do this, that, and the other, yes, we'll maintain the law, we'll maintain the peace side of things, but I wouldn't push myself out to arrest people if all you're going to do is get a complaint, which stops your promotion, stops your moving to a department. I've wanted to go on dogs unit for ages, and now I can't go on dogs unit because some lemming has made a complaint that's been dragged on for years. So you just think it'd be better if they were lemmings. We wouldn't see them after a while.
No, that's it. Let's finish on a happy note. People keep asking about a t-shirt. There'll be different colours on the website soon. Possibly not before Christmas, because Gemma, bless her, they're doing loads of DIY to get the house ready for Christmas. Let's finish on a happy note. Lovely Finn over there. He couldn't care less about lockdown. He couldn't care less about the weather.
Beautiful.
He's just
it's
nice.
A beautiful thing. Look, it does look so homely there.
Cozy blanket. I know, that's where I'll be sitting. That's where I'll be sitting in a minute with a glass of beer, watching the TV. Oh, who's watching the Formula One tomorrow?
I am. I've actually bought
end to a season in a very long time. Sorry if you're not a Formula One fan.
Mate, don't tell us because the qualification must be done. Channel 4 qualification I'm doing, but I have bought £10, spent £10 for Now TV so I can watch the Sky thing.
Can't wait. Last weekend's race was excited. I was screaming. Jamie was screaming. Jamie's got fret. Oh, that's funny. Jamie, she's a teenager, so she can be difficult to motivate. She woke up today. She'd done all the housework. She made breakfast. She cleaned up the man cave. And I'm thinking, what's wrong? And it turns out she's inviting 10 of her friends round tomorrow to watch the final race of the Grand Prix, which I think is lovely. I forced her as a child to watch Formula One, and now she absolutely loves it. And there's worse sports and worse things.
See, I forced my Rowan to do it, and he knew more about it than me, and now he's not interested at all. None of them are. I want to swap my kids. I've had enough of these ones. They're not into shiny aeroplane things, and they're not into Formula One.
They're yours, mate. You can have them.
I don't want them. I want to swap them. Everyone takes careful out there. Do not be one of those statistics near Christmas. So yeah, just play it safe, be careful, but enjoy yourselves as well. Lots of love, everyone. Take care. It's been emotional.